Negative and zero exponents, lesson 4.4 notes. First, I want to start off by just a quick reminder. When you're multiplying monomials, you add the exponents. So when I've got x to the fifth times x to the third, that would be x to the 5 plus 3, which would give me x to the 8th. When you are dividing, you subtract exponents. When you're dividing monomials, you subtract exponents. So this would be x to the 12 minus 8, which would give us x to the 4th. Now I know we also did it where we would cross out the variable term that has the smaller exponent, and then 12 minus 8 would give me my 4. So that's just a quick reminder. When multiplying, you add exponents. When dividing, you subtract exponents. Definition of a negative exponent. So for all non-zero real numbers, x, and all integers c and n, if you have x to the negative c, it's going to end up being 1 over x to the c. And if you have 1 over x to the negative n, it's going to end up being x to the nth. So let me explain what happens here. First of all, you're going to want to write really small and get this copied down. So if you have a negative exponent, if a negative exponent is in the numerator, you're going to move it to the denominator to make it positive. And if a negative exponent is in the denominator, you're going to move it to the numerator to make it positive. We don't want negative exponents. Your final answer will never have a negative exponent. If it's negative, it's not in simplest form. You want to make it positive. And to make it positive, you pretty much do the reciprocal. So if it's in the numerator, you move it to the denominator. And if it's in the denominator, you move it to the numerator. Go ahead, pause your video and get that written down. Okay, so if we look at this one, the x to the negative c, if I put that over 1, well, to make that positive, I flip it. In other words, the x to the negative c was in the numerator, it moves to the denominator and becomes positive. For the 1 over x to the negative n, again, we flip it. Which is taking the reciprocal. And technically this would be over 1, but we don't need 1 in the denominator, so it becomes x to the nth. So again, if you have a negative exponent, take the reciprocal to make it positive. If it's in the denominator, move it to the numerator. If it's in the numerator, move it to the denominator. Okay, if you have any questions on that part of the notes, please let me know.